And I guess we're live. So hello everyone, and welcome to the very first meeting of SIG Docs. That is the first APAC friendly monthly meeting of SIG Docs for the year 2024. It's January 24th, I believe. Time is a relative construct, so it's fine. But it is January 24th to the best of my knowledge, and we are, going to kick off our very first meeting with the usual reminder that this is governed by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which means that any harmful, abusive language must be refrained from when you are on this call or in general when you're interacting with members of the community in Slack or on GitHub or in a CNCF governed space. Because you will be held liable to, you'll be held up to rather to the Kubernetes code of conduct, and if there is a violation found, there will be, stringent actions taken. And if you notice any such behavior, we'd request you to sort of report that immediately. The details are given in the agenda doc, which I shall post here in a bit. But you can reach out to the Kubernetes Code of Community via an email or, um, you know, via Slack or in another communication mechanism. The details are there in the agenda doc. Um, but speaking of the agenda doc, let me actually just share it before I ramble further. I tend to have that, uh, tendency to ramble. So that's the agenda doc for today. And I'm going to start sharing the screen so that we have. I'm sorry about that. And I'll just share the agenda doc for today on the screen so that everyone's able to see it. And here we go. All right, I'm not sharing the correct screen, it seems. Great. This is not the intended idea that I had, clearly. Hmm. This is what you have. All right, we're on the right screen now. Yay. Got that right the second time. So our agenda is fairly short today, but over and above the Code of Conduct Committee reminder, I also wanted to take this opportunity to remind you all of the week's PR Wrangler and issue Wrangler shifts. So this week's PR Wrangler is me. With Princess of Shadowing. I don't know if she's there on the call. I don't think she is, but she's shadowing me. Next week's PR Wrangler is Nate. And the following week's PR Wrangler is Anna. And these PR Wranglers are essentially approvers and reviewers designated with triaging the incoming PRs and reviewing them and ensuring they go through the whole cycle of reviewing and reviews and approves. So that's the PR Wrangler bit. This week's issue Wrangler, which is another name role we have, is Sriram, who's there on the call. And next week's issue Wrangler is Anuj. And the following week's issue Wrangler is me. Now, issue Wrangler and PR Wrangler are two separate name roles within the community. PR Wrangler takes care of the pull requests that come into the repository and deals with the approval and review side of it. And issue Wrangler basically ensures that the issues are triaged and labeled and assigned in, to very specific SIGs, and they are indeed things that SIG docs needs to work on instead of being support requests or random requests that are not relevant to SIG docs in general. So I'm going to pause there and see if anybody has any doubts or any questions or any concerns around this.
No.
Also, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you that if you want to understand the approval and review process for PRs in general, you have the opportunity to shadow the PR wrangler for the week, like Princess was shadowing me this time. So you just need to reach out to one of the leads, leads or co-chairs to sign up for the shadowing program. This is a year-round program, and we recommend that there is just one person shadowing, the existing PR wrangler, as in the upcoming PR wrangler, because it'll be easier to communicate and coordinate. But if that's of interest to anyone on the call or off it, please reach out to us with your nominations for the weeks that you want to shadow, um, or the PR wrangler. We'd be happy to sign you up for that. um, but that being said, I'm gonna move to the agenda for today. And most of it was actually populated yesterday itself, so there's nothing new. The docs and comms. Before I start off with the update, we already know that release 1.30 is underway, with the docs and the comms teams having been formed with the respective shadows. And a lot of their onboarding procedures will be underway in the next couple of weeks. And uh, you'll see further updates regarding the progress of the respective verticals in in the release team on the meeting agenda as the cycle progresses. Um the up statuses are red, yellow, and green. No, I mean, I don't think it takes a genius to figure out what each of it means. But the current status is green because there aren't a lot of deliverables for this week, and um, the actual deliverables were to form the team and introduce them on the call and everything else. So that's pretty much it from the release 1.30 side of things. Um, any questions?
No, it's clear.
All right. So we do not have any issues in PRs entered in here. So I'm going to throw the floor open here for a bit, so that if anybody has any issues or PRs that they want to bring in, I would be happy to sort of discuss that. I know that Aditya, you had mentioned a whole blurb yesterday in yesterday's call, I believe, regarding the upstream code generation thing. I think it was you, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, it was me. Yeah.
Yeah, so do
S-
you was that resolved, or should I like go through it? Just a second, let me
Uh,
get to it.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, this was the one outdated pages about contributions to upstream Kubernetes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I raised this yesterday in the bi-weekly. So it is just something that I have observed, and because I'm spending a lot of time with the Kubernetes documentation these days, I've started contributing since 2 months now. So I've gotten pretty familiar with how the site is structured. And when I came to this section about contribution to the upstream Kubernetes and generation of the reference APIs and things like that, it seems that the pages are a bit outdated because the commands mentioned there, they don't work now with the latest Go versions and so on. And I have observed that there are certain issues already raised on the site. But the thing is that different people are trying to contribute to them. Whereas what I think is that all these pages, the set of 4 or 5 pages in that section, are kind of interlinked to each other. So if different people come in and contribute ad hoc to them, the PRs will not gel well together. Okay, when they merge. So I was just wanted to raise this, that as a program, do we need to maybe have a plan or set out with people who would like to contribute to it, are looped into, let's say, a thread, and we work towards getting those pages up to date. That was my point, basically.
Okay, so do you mean the contribution docs, or you mean the entire? Can you give me the specific thing that you're looking at? That
Yeah. So if I can share, can I share the screen? Is it possible, or I
can you
can maybe
the link?
I can give you the link. I'll give you the link. Yeah.
I'll just paste this
Second.
here.
Yeah.
But before I get to my point, I'd like to see what is it that you're talking about, so that
Yeah.
I'm not going to
So
go.
yeah. So I pasted a link on the chat.
Okay.
If you
Just
could open it, please.
so you're referring to the exact same thing that I am as well, which is updating the reference
Yeah.
documentation.
Yeah. So
These four.
this is the parent page, and there are all these child linked pages contributing to the upstream, generating reference. So all these pages are outdated. You know, the commands mentioned there don't
Yeah.
work anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have seen people wanting to contribute and make this up to date, but it's like different people are working on it in silos. Someone is trying to fix the upstream page, someone's trying to fix the kubectl page. So what I'm thinking is that, you know, these different PRs coming in together will not help us, because I think this entire section needs to be targeted together. If Because they are kind of linked to each other. Okay. So would it make sense to maybe have a thread out of this to see, to have people who are interested to contribute and then plan the work accordingly? Because it seems like a bit of a task.
Right. So, to answer that question, I agree with whatever Natalie has said here, but I don't think she addressed the whole thing relevant to your point. So I'm going to shed a little more light on it. Now, when we speak about reference documentation contribution, the thing is we do not have a lot of contributors coming in. On a steady basis, like we have for just the normal website contributions, right? Like the ad hoc contributions, leave alone. I'm talking about in general. We do not have a lot of folks coming in for reference talks, because the level of knowledge required for reference talks in general is a little more as compared to the level that's required for a standard contribution to docs. So what tends to happen is, like you said, there are a lot of efforts in silos, and they probably don't sync well or gel well together. Completely understand, which is why what we're trying to do with this specific area of the project. So reference docs is supposed to be a sub project. It's not formalized yet. And this is a thing that we're trying to do this year, the formalization of the sub project. Like we have a blog sub project with its boards and with its sub project leads. We have a reference doc sub project lead, Chiming, but the unfortunate thing is that there's nobody else who's actively there working with Chiming to maintain all of this. So what ends up happening is a lot of the work falls on Chiming's shoulders, and a lot of this, the whatever is there. So whether it be the contribution documentation, or whether it be the actual process of generating the reference documentation, right, every release cycle, it falls on him. And I'm not staying away from the responsibility of updating it. But my from a standpoint, what we're trying to do is we've advertised about the fact that our reference documentation in general as a sub project needs more folks. So that's something that we've advertised as part of our talk in KubeCon NA. And we've got a few interested folks interested folks. That is one thing. The second thing is, if you are also interested in, like, I mean, updating this is great, but if you're interested in actually contributing to it right from scratch, what I would recommend is that person needs to be invested in the sub project in general, and not be like a drive by standalone contributor. Because Reference docs is not something that I can go through the contribution documentation and suddenly discover how to do it in 1 hour. It's not possible. So if that's something that you or anyone else who's on the call is interested in, I'd be more than happy to share what we've been sharing with the people who've shown interest for reference documentation sub projects. We've actually communicated with them the agenda of what needs to be done. So we've actually given them sort of things that they could learn, and then we're going to try and patch them and document their learning on the website itself and update these docs. But that's going to be a process, because it's not going to be quick, given that I told you the knowledge level required is kind of steep curve that not a lot of people are willing to wait through and learn and then figure out. So that is the plan that we have currently, and there's already an issue tracking the formalization of the reference doc sub project. So we'll be working on that, and if there's interest, we are obviously welcoming folks to actually contribute to it. But ad hoc contributors are very much welcome, though what we would really want is for more core contributors to the sub project who can then level up and take responsibility, that Chiming is, I think, single-handedly managing right now.
Okay.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it answers. So, sure. I mean, I have some time at my disposal right now. So, although, as I told you, I have been invested in the SIG dogs for only around 2 months now. So, it's not that I have extensive experience with how the entire website works, but if I may be interested in contributing to this area. Okay, so if there are some discussions or meetings, you feel free to include me, and I'll try to see how much I can
There
contribute.
aren't meetings per se. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there aren't meetings per se. Like problems. So that's the first thing that we're tackling, which is creation of the sub project. But even a sub project needs leads, right? You cannot have like a project with just one person or a sub project with just one person. We need people contributing to it. So firstly, we've gathered interest. That's 2 3 people, but those 2 or 3 people are working currently on figuring out their own comfort level with go with Kubernetes in general, with the way docs functions in general, and they're recording it and they're sending it. So all of this takes place unfortunately behind close quarters of DMs and everything. So although it can be recorded somewhere, it obviously is not like the Kubernetes website is definitely not the right place to record that journey. So we are currently training them in, like, I wouldn't say I'm training them, but we've given them the things that they need to know when they're actually updating the reference docs or generating the reference docs. And then what we intend for them to do is to shadow Chiming in one of the release cycles so that they know the whole process. So there's no formal thing going on. It's all
Okay,
informal the current moment. So if there is interest, what I can do is share what needs to be done, go through all those documentation. You'll have to tinker and figure out stuff because, like you
sure,
said, a lot of it is woefully out of date. So
sure,
I can give you the references that I have, and then from there you can touch base with Swimming and figure out if this is something that you'd like to get more
sure,
hands more dirty
sure.
with or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Please, that would be great. Thanks.
All right. So I will enter all of what I spoke after the call into
Yeah,
the agenda documentation, because I did not think of advertising for a person, which I should have. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Anybody else have any questions around the issues or PRs that
uh,
need attention from our side?
there's just one more thing, Divya. if I could just mention one of the PR that I'm working on, okay, since you are also the PR wrangler, probably it is the right time to mention it. So, I have actually been working on creating a page from scratch, a new tutorial page about updating configuration via config maps. So, it is something that Tim had requested as one of the feature that he wanted, and I took it up and I've prepared a page from scratch for it. Tim has already reviewed it a couple of times, given his inputs and things like that, and it's actually available for another look. So if I can give you the PR number, maybe you could take a look
Yeah,
at it
I will
whenever
look.
you have time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'll
I
just
will.
I'll
It's in
I
the
will just
chat.
share it with you. Yeah.
For what it's worth, I also need to be transparent about how I'm wrangling PRs. I'm going in a chronological order, which is from last to first, oldest to newest, not the other way around. The reason being, there are several old PRs that are lying dormant there without any response from a lot of
Mm,
contributors. So I'm tackling the old PRs first, and then I'm going to come to the newer PRs. But if there are any that are, priority or haven't been looked at in a while, please feel free to flag. I will get to them, I promise. It's a little slow, but I will get to them. We
okay.
have over 120 PRs just in the English language, and I'm also the Hindi language approver, so there's just like
Yeah.
two things there.
Sure.
So I
Sure.
will.
I understand. Thanks. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Right. So anybody else with any other issues or PRs that need attention, or even general discussion points, because even the discussion points have been borrowed from yesterday and have been pasted here for visibility purposes. It's not that we're going to discuss through this entire thing. It's related to the carpenter project, so we're not going to discuss this. So if there's any discussion points or any issues or PRs, please feel free to take the floor and voice out. Yeah, Niranjan, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning to all. I had translated the training page and I had raised this PR in Hindi. So I had discussed this also in the Hindi language localization on the SIG channel as well as on SIG docs as well. But there is no any review from anyone. So it is pending from long time.
Can you define long time, please?
Sorry.
Can you define long time? Has it been 2 weeks? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it may be about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Localizations take slightly more time. As you already know, because we are short staffed, not just on this thing, but I will take a look at that as well. We are not just short staffed on the approvers reviewers front on docs, but we're also short staffed in the localizations as well. So we will
Yeah.
get to it, and we will provide the review. Please don't worry. And like I said, it'll take a little bit of time since there are only two reviewers and approvers on the Hindi localization as well. So once done, we will let you know. I'm trying to get to as many as I can this week.
Okay, thank you, Dibyamon.
And if you can actually paste the PR here, that would be great.
Okay, yes, fine. I'm pasting it. One thing I don't know whether this is the platform to ask the things or not. Means, Dibya ma'am, I want to ask like if I want to be a PR wrangler, so in Shadow, so what are the eligibility criteria and how who can apply and who can be? So I don't know about this as well.
Right. So for a PR Wrangler shadow, I just started off the meeting with that, but I'll reiterate for those who joined in late. So PR Wrangler shadows essentially they can be anyone, doesn't need to have any sort of eligibility criteria like being a GitHub org member or anything. You just need to work alongside the PR Wrangler that you have volunteered to shadow alongside, and provide your informal reviews. You are not given LGTM and the privilege that is associated with a wrangler. You can write LGTM, but the bot won't accept it if you're not a GitHub org member anyway. So there's no privilege associated with being a PR wrangler. PR wrangler shadow, sorry. You can shadow the PR wrangler and understand how the process works. You can write LGTM. Not gonna say no, but that what do I say? If you're not a member, it anyways doesn't accept it. So you don't need to worry about destroying something. You have
Hmm.
guardrails set for that. So essentially, yeah, anybody can sign up for the shadowing program for PR Wranglers. You just have to go through the wiki for the PR Wranglers. That's linked in the agenda documentation, and you can go there and check who you want to shadow against, and give the leads, myself, Natalie, Ray, or one of the tech leads, the name of the wrangler that you want to shadow against, and we will enter your name there.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, that issue for the Hindi localization, please, if it's possible, to paste it in the chat, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm pasting it here.
Anything else from anybody else? So I don't think there's anything else that's coming in from anyone. So if there's nothing, I think I'd like to give you back your half an hour so that y'all can go and do uh whatever y'all were doing before the call. So thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you around in the community then. Thank you for taking our time for just this half an hour as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, Divya. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Divya. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Divya.